A prominent US lawyer will lead the defence team for the American soldier accused of killing 16 civilians in a shooting rampage in Afghanistan. John Henry Brown, who represented notorious serial killer Ted Bundy, says his soldier client suffered a brain injury during his previous tour of Iraq and had resisted redeployment. The Afghan President Hamid Karzai has called for US troops to leave villages and confine themselves to major bases. Meanwhile, the Taliban says they're suspending peace talks. Amy Bainbridge reports.
John Henry Brown has represented the serial killer Ted Bundy and a teenage fugitive known as the Barefoot Bandit. His new client stands accused of killing 16 civilians, including women and children, on a shooting spree in Afghanistan's Kandahar province. The soldier's name still hasn't been released, and John Henry Brown admits even he doesn't yet know exactly what happened.
Well, I can't say. I don't know anything about the facts. I don't even personally know that he did anything, because I don't know the facts. And I've instructed our client, I have a hard time not saying his name, not to talk to us about any of the facts. We don't trust the phones. So I think the only in-depth conversation we're going to have with him is going to be face-to-face.
Some details are emerging about the 38-year-old father of two, a staff sergeant from the Lewis McChord base in the US state of Washington.
He was told that he was not going to be redeployed. And the family was counting on him not being redeployed. And so he and the family were told that his tours in the Middle East were over, and then literally overnight that changed. So I think that it would be fair to say that he and the family were not happy that he was going back.
Mr. Brown also says somebody was gravely injured the day before the alleged incident, which he says affected all of the soldiers. Afghan officials are angry the soldier has been transferred to Kuwait instead of facing the legal system there.
There is discussion of the death penalty, understandably, I think, in this situation, which makes us very nervous whenever our cases involve a potential death penalty. So it's a very serious matter, and it's certainly not off the table at this point. Our hope that maybe it will be. We don't know anything about our client's state of mind. We don't know anything about the facts of the case.
Let's say after all those appeals, the defendant is not successful. Even then, a military defendant cannot be executed unless the president personally confirms the death sentence.
This week's shooting comes off the back of an extremely difficult period for US-Afghan relations. Last month, US soldiers burned copies of the Quran, provoking large and deadly protests. And in January, video posted on the internet showed US soldiers urinating on Taliban corpses. The Afghan president has released a statement that says the latest incident has damaged the relationship and demands
international security forces have to be taken out of Afghan village outposts.
President Karzai also says security responsibility should be transferred to Afghan forces next year, well ahead of NATO's 2014 deadline.
Afghanistan is right now ready to completely take all security responsibilities.
This is my 6th trip to Afghanistan. And I have to tell you that in past trips, I was concerned about the differences with regards to the strategy ahead. And this trip, everyone I talked to absolutely agreed with the strategy.
The Taliban has also announced the suspension of preliminary peace talks with the US over delays in a prisoner exchange deal that involves 5 Taliban fighters held at Guantanamo Bay. The US says it remains committed to reconciliation. Amy Bainbridge, Lateline.